All my friends are heathens, take it slow.
Yeah.
Wait for them to ask me who you know. Don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. That's right. I'm over here in the left ear, starting things off. Just me and Jared. He's over in the right. I don't know what he's thinking about, but I'm thinking about the 21 Pilots and Mute Math collaboration of Heathens. All right, I'll come back to the both ears. How's it going, Jared?
Hey, what's up? We're just you know, I'm sitting over here, you're sitting over there, not
It's great.
interacting.
It's great. I hope that it shows up on our screen that way, but I know it won't. So maybe I'm in the
I
right ear this
know.
time. Maybe I'm in the right ear this time, Kevin. Kevin, I know
Well,
you're going to
just
listen to this.
Well, it's been a quiet week here in Lake Scabagon, my hometown. This week, the Squids look forward to their road trip to Pennsylvania by sitting down with Mike Holt, the singer of Huntingtons. They tell band stories, talk TomFest, work/life balance, touring Europe, self-censoring tapes, invent a new March Madness bracket, and so much more.
Oh, Brock's here.
Yo.
Yo!
we ready?
Yep.
And we can just let him know we're trying to get our stuff together,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is us.
Our stuff is usually together.
And it was trying to
Sometimes.
come together.
Yeah.
We're a very professional podcast.
That's us.
Perhaps
Yeah.
the most professional podcast.
That's ever potted.
Hey, welcome.
What's up, fellas?
How we
How
doing?
are What's up?
All right, sounds like you can hear me. That's good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds
Cool.
great.
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess we'll kind of go over some guidelines or rules or whatever. It's real quick. If there's anything that you don't want, if there's anything you don't want included, you just say time out. Then it's off the record. Time in. We're back in.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, that works.
That's pretty much it. So
All right, now rule number 2. Let's get started. No, I'm kidding.
yeah, we definitely want to talk about the show that's coming up that we're making the trip down for. So
nice. Where are you guys from?
so I'm up in the Boston area.
Oh, wow. Okay, you got a little bit of a trip.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm coming down from Rhode Island, which is actually right close to where he is. But
Yeah.
yep. But
Nice.
Brock,
I'm from Oregon, yes, which means it's farther from me. I'll come by way of the trail. Hopefully, I won't run
don't
out
die
of
of
bullets or get
dysentery.
dysentery. Yeah, that's the idea.
Nice.
I'm in North Carolina and unfortunately won't be joining everybody else, but I'll be at a volleyball tournament with my daughter in South Carolina.
I can't imagine what's more important, Jared.
Right? I know.
So anyway, happy Failure Puddle Friday.
Yeah.
Mike Holt is an American musician and the one in the Huntingtons with a Y in his name. He's trodden the mid-Atlantic indie music scene with his punk band for years, first published on Flying Tart Records. Having once released 5 albums in 1 year, the band gained a cult following, but not a creepy kind of cult, just means they were popular in a certain niche. While Huntingtons broke up once, they didn't stay dead, and they're playing a show with Ghoti Hook in just a few weeks. While Mike Holt is not related to Steve Holt, it is inconclusive as to whether or not Aliyah Shawkat has a crush on him or not.
We released 5 albums in 1 year.
That's what it said on the internet.
Okay, well then it must be true. How can I argue with that? Yeah, I know there was 1 year where there were quite a few. I just didn't know it was 5. That's okay. All right, sounds about right, I guess.
Yeah, go for broke, right? Just kind of
Yeah.
push them all out at once.
Yep.
Yeah, there was reasoning behind that. It wasn't a fluke. Because that would have been like around 2000, like 99 or 2000.
99 probably, yeah.
Yeah. At that point we weren't too far into the whole tooth and nail contract, but we were ready to just finish it. So if we could put as many out at a time as we could, it just got us a little closer to that. And
That's
honestly,
how you get free.
that's how you get free. Yeah, and not in a sense of like, oh, we were just miserable or anything. It's just I think we all had it in our heads that we just wanted to do something else.
Sure.
We were not a band that in that point in our careers that was, running around, having lots of negative experiences or things to say or whatever. I don't know that we've ever really had that to share. It was totally fine for the most part. It's just, we wanted to do other stuff, so we were cranking them out as fast as we could.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So you're still down in Maryland, right?
Yeah, I live about 8 miles out of Baltimore, just north
Hmm.
of Baltimore. It's been here pretty much my whole life. I grew up in the city, moved, a little to the outskirts, after high school and stuff, and have been in that general area ever since. But yeah, I've never lived anywhere but Maryland the whole time.
Cliffy's down, is he Pennsylvania?
He's actually in Maryland now
Oh,
too.
he's in Maryland now too. Okay.
Yeah, when we kicked this off, him and Mikey with the two E's, they were up in Delaware, and so our home base was out of Newark, Delaware, which isn't terribly far from where I'm at anyway.
That's
But
not bad, yeah.
he's bounced around a lot. He's been out on the West Coast, out in Oregon actually, for a bunch of years, and Texas for a bunch of years, and I want to say he's been in Maryland, back in Maryland now for, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 years, maybe a little longer than that. But he's down in Ocean City. He's over on the coast.
Mm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in when I was in college, this band I was in, we played down in Philly, and Cliffy showed up at the show. I think we were doing a Huntington's cover at that point. I forget which song it was, but like right as we're about to, start, I like look over, I'm like, wait a minute. And we proceeded to butcher it.
So depending on what kind of mood he was in that night, he said one of two things. He probably said, "Man, that was great. You guys did awesome," and just was overly complimentary. Or if he was being kind of like an old school Cliffy, he'd have been like, "Man, that was terrible." I don't know which one he went with, but it's gonna be one. It's gonna be one of the two extremes.
Yeah, I think I got a, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Okay.
And I went, "I'm so sorry."
Middle of the road.
Option 3. Yeah.
Middle of the road.
I said,
There it
"I
is.
am so sorry."
At least it wasn't that's terrible. Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I would have agreed,
Right.
But I do have one other Cliffy story. Moving on to the next band that I was in, we were playing out on the West Coast, and we played up where TomFest was, and it was the year after TomFest was done. So I think they were calling it not TomFest, but it was the same grounds, a whole bunch of bands, and the Stivs were supposed to play. So I was all excited about it. I was like, sweet. I go over to watch them play, and it's just a bunch of cardboard cutouts, and they've got a boombox playing the album. I'm like, what? So apparently Cliffy was running late, or like didn't make it in time, so that's what they ended up doing, was just putting on a boombox. I was just like,
Wow.
man. So I have a picture of it somewhere where it's just the boombox and the spray painted cardboard.
That's awesome.
Mike, because I'm from the Northwest, I'm curious, do you have memories of the TomFest events, of the whole thing?
Yeah, for sure.
What
What was
happened? How muddy was it? Or how dusty was it?
You know what? I don't think it was as bad as Cornerstone.
Okay,
Um, in either mud or dust, like in
that's good.
in either extreme there. I I rem So I have two memories that stick out the most for Tom Fest, and neither one of them have anything to do with the festival. So apologies, but
No, you're
we
good.
I think
That's what we like.
the first time we went out there, I think it was just the three of us, me, Cliff, and Mike. Maybe we might have had a second guitarist at that point, but we flew out there. We didn't have a tour at that time, and we just went out just for the festival. And when we got there, we were kind of broke. We didn't have a lot of money, and we decided that instead of renting a car to get from the airport out to, what was the name of the town that festival was?
That's Stevenson.
Skamania? Oh yeah, Stevenson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Skamania County, or Skamania County, right?
Yeah. That rings a bell. Instead, so the airport was, I don't know. I seem to remember it was like an hour or so away, maybe a little
Mhm.
longer. So we had to get out there somehow, and instead of renting a car, we just decided to rent one of those like 1995 U-Haul, like the 1995 a day U-Haul vans, and just
Classic.
do it
Yeah.
on the
Yep.
cheap. And we didn't have
Yeah.
equipment or anything. We had no reason to have like this big freaking U-Haul van, but it was cheaper than paying $100 for a car. So
and spacious.
we
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got in it and we crammed. It was, I think, me, Cliff, my wife, and Mike with the E, all across the front seat of this U-Haul van. And we're riding along, you know, we're laughing, we're doing whatever. And Mike with the E is driving, and Cliff is all the way on the other side, all the way to the right in the passenger seat. And for some reason, Cliff thought Mike's window was down. And he had this big soda, like a big gulp sized soda. And he thought it'd be fun to just launch it across all of us and out what he thought was the open window. The window wasn't even cracked. I don't know why he thought it was.
It was so clean.
It was
clear.
so
Until it was
clean.
there.
They keep those U-Haul vehicles
Screen
stay
door
so
effect.
nice.
That's what they're
And
known
it
for.
exploded. It hit that window and exploded all over Pierce. And to say he was pissed that started his weekend in like the worst possible way. It was I mean, the rest of us died. I mean, we were done.
Yeah.
That was it at that point. But I was like, what in the world are you even thinking? So that was trip number one out there. We rented a U-Haul and exploded a Coke all over our drummer. And then I think the second time we went, same deal. We flew in, except this time maybe we had sold a few CDs, so we had a few extra dollars, and we rented a proper vehicle. And the only other person in the rental place at the airport we were going to was Ice-T, the rapper. And he was in town for some other reason. And we were just like, no way. I mean, there was no one else around. Like, it wasn't like a thing where, you know, the rental car place was packed and people were mobbing him and talking to him. And it was just us and him. And it was like, whoa, this is crazy. So we striked up a conversation. And he flew into town to do a rap show. He's like, I'm doing a rap show. Like, well, we're doing a rock show. We should come to each other's shows. And, you know, just shooting the breeze or whatever. We took some pictures with him, and he had one other guy with him, and they rented two. Each of them got one or two Jaguars. So they were big time. And I think, you know, we got like a Ford Focus or something. So
Sure.
we weren't quite to that level, but meeting Ice-T on the second round and slumming it in the U-Haul in the first round. Those were my two fondest TomFest memories.
But did you
That's
get a
awesome.
Ford Focus each to let him know how
We
you
did,
roll?
yeah,
That's how you impress Ice-T. You're
That's
like, we don't
right,
all
man.
share a Ford Focus. Each one of
Represent-
us,
Gotta
Yeah,
Ford
represent.
Foci, yeah.
You got to roll up for Law and Order Con.
the
you
whole
know?
entourage. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I do remember the general environment of that festival. I thought it was a good time. I loved being out in that part of the country, and we had good shows there. It was a fun time to play there. But for some reason, those are the two that sticks out the most for me.
That's phenomenal.
It's pretty good. If it makes you feel any better, it probably all came out of the budget, right? Like if you're getting a Jaguar, it definitely undercuts your album sale total, right? Like
Yeah,
balances
that's
in the
right.
end.
That's right.
I'd like to see a Jaguar maybe rent U-Hauls. Like it'd be nice to see something that's a little bit nicer. It's got better suspension, better seating, that sort of thing.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
the luxury moving truck, I think, is really the market that hasn't been tapped yet.
I mean, I know that wasn't Ice-T, that was Exhibit, but we could print, pimp my U-Haul.
Yeah.
That would be, oh man, that's awesome. I'm picturing this now.
That would be a pretty good day.
You know what, MTV, TM, that's my idea. Got it. U-Haul, if you're listening.
A lot of luxury do-it-yourself movers out there, for sure.
Yes.
Well, I also have another question. I don't want to cut anybody else off if they've got curiosity, but Mike, I'm curious, just looking at the similarity between Huntington's Fun and Games and Do the Hokey Pokey and the Bunny Hop. Obviously, they're similar. What's the story on that? Where did the idea come from?
So we did the same thing with the first record we did, which was called Sweet 16.
Mhm.
When back in that time period, when I would go up to Delaware and practice with the guys, most of our practice days were spent bouncing around at record shops. Like we'd practice for like an hour, and then we'd go hit up a record store and practice for an hour, and then go hit up another record store. So we spent probably a good half of our practice day just running around buying CDs and albums and stuff. And one of the shops we went into had the cover of Sweet 16 is like an old polka band. It's like I think four or five dudes, and they're kind of standing around and pointing at two girls. And the original cover said like polka with the Naturals. It was a band called the Naturals, and we saw it and we were like, you know what, that's kind of an interesting looking cover. Let's just grab that, and we could probably use that sometime. And so we just ended up just slapping our name on the top of it and using it like completely as is.
That's awesome.
Super,
I love it.
totally, thrift store kind of vibe. And, round two, we're doing the same thing. We're practicing, we're hitting up record stores, and we find that Hokey Pokey record. And at that time, we had gone out and recorded with Mass Giorgini out at Sonic Iguana in Indiana. So we had a little bit more of a budget. Flying Tart was starting to kind of get a little bit better distribution as far as pushing their records out. And they were like, I don't know, Ed, that probably no one would ever notice, but can you guys not do this again? Can you not just take and rip off another album cover so we don't put ourselves into kind of any jeopardy for people coming in, trying to get copyright stuff or anything like that. So while we were out at Sonic Iguana, one of the techs that worked on the record, his name was Dan Lumley. He played drums for Screeching Weasel for a bit. He was in a lot of the 90s. Yep. He was in a lot of the 90s Lookout Records singing bands and everything. He was also an artist, and we had that record with us while we were out there. And he was like, yeah, I could redraw it for you, make a couple minor changes or whatever. That way, if anybody ever says anything, maybe we can, I can attest that I drew it and blah, blah, blah. I was inspired by this old children's record or whatever. So the cover that came out from the original Flying Tart release was redrawn by the drummer for, it was his band was Squirt Gun. I don't know if you guys listen to it. Lookout Record stuff. So the drummer for Squirt Gun redrew that for us, and we, same thing, slapped our name on it. But yeah, and then later down the road, when it came time it got a vinyl release. That and Sweet 16 got a vinyl release like 10 or 12 years ago, limited run. We didn't have the original artwork file for the Flying Tart version. So I think somebody found that record again at a thrift shop and basically just did a scan and cleaned it up. And the newer version of it actually is a little closer to as a copy to the original one. But yeah, it's just a redrawn version of the Hokey Pokey.
Very nice. And no drama, right? Like no procedurals or anything. Yeah, just
no. Yeah. I mean, goodness, I don't know. Flying Tart probably sold 3,000, 4,000 copies of that record. So it didn't get on anybody's radar. We were never really worried about that. But I think, at the time, I think they were thinking they were this growing label and who knows what could happen. So,
right.
But yeah,
there are lawyers out there, but they didn't contact you.
They did not. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
No, that's great. I love it because I was actually I was on the one of the Facebook groups, maybe the Old School Tooth and Nail group on Facebook, and somebody had found the original from Don't Know. Was it Cooley P. Ramaswamy Memorial Cheesecake?
Yeah,
that album cover was like heavily doctored version of another album cover, and somebody found it's just some old banjo player record. Which now is on my Discogs want list. But yeah, it's great just in terms of knowing that there's stuff out there. And there's something about the old album cover designs too that I don't know, it's hard to do that from scratch. It's probably a lot easier to get that retro feel and to kind of channel some of that energy in the design if you're working off of something from earlier. I appreciate it because I'm a huge fan of cover parody and cover art that either borrowed or changes shape or whatever. So thank you. It's helpful to know.
Yeah, for sure. No problem.
Do you have any favorite parody art that's not your own?
Man, I did not come prepared for that question.
That's okay. Nobody has these kinds of questions.
Through the magic of editing, no one will know. So.
Yeah, right. The next 40 minutes thinking about it. No, I can't think of any off the top of my head. No, that's not really a thing that geez. And obviously after those two, we kind of took a break from just picking up thrift shop records and ripping them off. Right. So no, I can't really think of any off the top of my head that I'm aware of anyway. But Yeah.
No worries. You don't have to. I figured I'd ask just in case.
Yeah. All good.
I'll give you
Kevin's
mine.
got some Perry of the Yard on his shirt right there.
Oh yeah, Kevin does have some on it. Yeah.
His current shirt. Yeah, you're wearing some.
Yeah, I
The
am.
Stretch Armstrong.
Yep.
The Minor Threat shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Out of Step. Yeah. Out of Breath.
Personally, I like the Weird Al Nevermind parody cover, but but that's just me. I don't know. All right, moving on.
So in your non-Huntington time, so what do you do for work nowadays?
Oh, okay. So I've actually been doing this since pretty much the start of the band. I work for the Department of the Army.
Oh, okay.
So I'm part of an engineering team. Most of our work is around doing like chemical biological defense equipment. So just being able to sniff out nasty stuff or decon equipment, or even soldiers like protective gear and stuff like that for when they get involved with chemical or biological agents. And I've been doing that since '96.
Wow.
Wow.
Took a little bit of a break when the band picked up and we started touring. I was lucky enough to have a job where they were like super into the fact that I was in a band. Thought it
Mhm.
was the coolest thing in the world. And when I went to them, was like, "Hey, I need 2 weeks off. Is it cool if I go on tour for 2 weeks?" They're like, "Yeah, man, do it." And then I came back from that. I was like, "Hey, in a few months, I'm going to need to take like 4 months off. Is that okay to do it?" And surprisingly, they were like, "Yeah, man, don't, yeah, go do it while you can." And I came back and I still had a job, and
That's huge.
it's pretty amazing. And then 2002, before I got hired on as an actual full federal employee, I was working with them as a contractor. We had been touring so much that I went to them and said, "Look, guys, I think we're going to try to turn this into like a full-time gig. And I know it's not going to be a forever thing. I'm not going to retire off of it, but I feel bad that I'm leaving so much. I'm just going to go ahead and quit and go do it." And full blessing of my boss and everything. Thought it was awesome. But 6 days into the very first tour we did after I quit that job, we got robbed. We were in Dallas, Texas, and we got robbed.
Oh no.
And the trailer got broken into, and practically everything that was in a case. I think it was raining that night, and I'm guessing they probably had a pickup truck. And so they left stuff that wasn't in cases so that it wouldn't get wet and destroyed, and took everything in cases. But that wiped us out, man. We had absolutely no. We had 3 months of tour to do. It was 6 days in, and they took everything. And so we finished that tour. We scrapped and scraped and borrowed and
Wow.
and,
Yeah.
and rebought stuff as we could, and ate the cheapest meals possible to dump money back into equipment. But as soon as I got home, I was like, I got to make that inevitable call back to the boss and say, "Hey, I know I just quit because I'm going to go be this, awesome rock star, but can I have my job back?" And luckily enough, they were awesome. They were like, "Yep, we're." And not only did I get it back, but then I launched pretty quickly into the actual federal government position, and from there on, I've just been with them ever since.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's not
Wow.
cool right now.
Sure.
No.
Because there's.
But I mean, the fact that you got to have your job back, that part's cool. Right?
That part is amazing, and I will never forget the people that made that happen. That's
Sure.
absolutely amazing. But yeah, we've had some chaos the last couple weeks, but yeah, we'll
I
get
can't
through, I
imagine.
guess.
I can't even imagine. Yeah.
I lucked out, sort of the same situation. When I was working at an insurance company, and I got a phone call saying, "Hey, we're looking for a new bass player for our band. We're going on tour in 2 weeks. Would you be interested?" And I went to my boss and was like, "Hey, I've got this opportunity. I haven't taken any time off because we've been working on this huge project for the last year and a half." And she's like, "Yeah, go." And I'm like, "You see, because I've been working really hard." And she's like, "Stop talking and just go before I change my mind."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's funny too when I came back and they rehired me back. We still to this day do a lot of tours through the facility that we work on. So other organizations come through and see what we do. industry people come and see what we do. And I've actually been a supervisor for an area for a really long time. And instead of my boss introducing me, as what I do at my job, with the type of business I take care of, he always introduced me as, this is our rock star. He toured the world, and nobody that came through there ever knew anything about what I actually did at that facility. They just knew that I had spent some time doing music stuff. And so it was fun. It sparked up interesting conversations with people, and, got to know some people in a different way than I probably would have if they just knew me as a stuffy, engineering nerd or whatever. So, so that was cool. That was always fun to do too. But
should have got
it's been good.
a merch table at the end of the tour. It'd be like,
Oh
by
my
the way,
gosh.
there's CDs, there's T-shirts. Like,
that is an incredible idea. What a
There you
missed
go.
opportunity.
Well, going forward, use it. Our blessing.
Like, you and the boss work together. I'll do the tour. I'm gonna do a great job. You keep drumming me up as a rock star.
That's
I just
right.
need a merch booth.
Yep.
That's it.
We'll
Just a little
we'll
merch
give you a
booth.
cut. We'll give you a cut under the table.
There you go.
Jared, that's a phenomenal idea. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Look how efficient I'm being.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be in my my next email that I send in to say what I did last
Your
week.
5 things that you did.
Yeah, I sold
That's right.
sold 6 shirts and 2 LPs.
Yeah, count them one by one. Count them one by one.
That's
Generating tax dollars for the country. That's what you're doing.
That's right.
So with perspective, how do you look? I mean, I feel like you listen to a lot of artists who some tell the story of like, oh, I wish we'd have tried harder. We gave up too soon. Some seem to be a little bit bitter about their period where they really focus on their band, then others like leave it behind and like I'm in a different band. How do you view like your musical career right now where you sit? Like, what are your feelings about it?
Oh man, so I don't think I would want anything different. I, I actually really love how everything turned out. Even with the whole, experiencing, getting all of our crap stolen, which basically sort of pushed us towards that first. I think the intro there from the internet said something about we took a break or whatever, and then we came back. I mean, I think that was probably like right around the first time we took a break was like 2005. So it was shortly after that happened that everybody came home from that just hugely demoralized, obviously. And all of us owing like a ton of money for bills because we had to dump all the money back into the gear. Even with that, and some other, little pitfalls here and there that we've had over the years, I don't think I'd change a thing about it. I think like we've met amazing people along the way and friendships and just all the relationships that we've built, coming back together roughly 10 years ago to start actively playing again, doing shows, doing little mini weekend runs, and then we recorded a record a bunch of years ago and put that out for the first time in like forever. Like all of that, like I don't think I'd change any of it. We never really had bad experiences with any of the labels that we've dealt with. Just it's given us a ton of stuff to look back on and be like, I can't believe we did that. Like it's just like amazing memories to form. Better memories than U-Haul trucks and meeting Ice-T, but just a lot just,
debatable. No,
right.
Ice-T.
They're up there. They're up there.
You're right, sure. Yeah, no.
But now, I mean, gee, man, looking back, it's just, I wouldn't change anything. Honestly, I love it. I love where we're at now too, where none of us, all of us are married. We have families. We have full-time jobs. Nobody's under some weird impression that we're going to do anything more than we're doing now. So we get together, we have a good time. We only do it because we like doing it. Right. There's nothing really in it financially for us or anything other than, hey, we just get to go out and do what we like to do and have a good time with it. And it's nice to have everybody be on that page and not have half of us looking to break out and get one last, hurrah or anything like that. It's just, nope, we're going to do it until we feel like it's not good anymore. Like if we're playing shows and we're like, you know what, guys, that's the second or third show in a row where we have sucked. It might be time to start thinking about not doing this anymore. So now I don't know. That's probably a super boring answer, but like
No.
I love the career that we've had and the people we've met more than anything. It's just been awesome.
That's great. How often are you playing right now?
So up until so the last show we played was in December, so we've been on kind of a little bit of a break. But the
Sure.
last couple years, kind of after the after the COVID stuff died off and things started kind of picking back up again, we were doing probably 2 to 3 dozen shows a year, which I know is not a lot. Like it's not a huge amount, but for us, I mean that's pretty huge because we only play weekend type things. We're not
Sure.
Yeah.
going
Right.
out for, and every once in a while we'll do like 3 4 day runs where we kind of try to venture out into the Midwest or go up to the Northeast a little bit whenever we can. So putting that many in a year is kind of a lot for us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
There's only so many weekends.
there are
Yeah.
only so many weekends, and you can only get so far and be back to work on Monday. So
Right.
That's it.
Right. Right.
you leave on a Friday morning. You're not going to get too much further than maybe Chicago before you got to turn around and start coming back the other way so that you can be at work on time. So that kind of that part's kind of like we really wish we could kind of hit a couple other areas, and maybe before all said and done, we'll try to take a week or something and get a little further out and play some
Sure.
spots we haven't been in a long time. But yeah, for the limitations we have on that, I think we stay fairly active.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's cool that you're all on the same page as a band. I mean, that's really what's important. You're still doing it because you love it, and we come. Our podcast comes from two guys that used to be in, or one that used to be, one that currently is, in bands, and they don't do 3 dozen shows a year. So, it's cool to see that you're still doing like 3 dozen shows. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah. And Cliff. Every time we talk about kind of drawing out a roadmap to kind of close everything out, because the one thing I guess you could say maybe we're not 100% on the same page is me and the drummer want to make sure that it doesn't just fizzle away. Like we want to have something kind of defined and ready to go so that we have a nice closeout to everything, and we're like, yep, this is it, and then we're done kind of thing. And Cliff is like, I'll be I don't care if I'm 70 years old. I still want to do that. Like, I'm still going to want to be out there doing this.
Right,
And
right.
he's not terribly far away from that goal. He's, I want to, what's he, 56, I think? He's 55 or 56 now. So, but
Amazing.
he's just, he's a machine and wants to do it forever. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I would like to have some sort of a plan to kind of make sure we go out with in a nice way and it doesn't just sort of like peter off. So, but
Sure.
but yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, we're all doing it because that's what we want to do.
Since you're doing it because you want to, I'm curious what you look for when you pick shows. Are you going to like venues you've enjoyed before? Is it the cities you want to spend time in? Is it the bands you want to play with? Like, what motivates your choices right now?
Yeah, there's a little bit of pickiness, that's for sure. There are some times where we get asked to do things and we're like, oh, our drummer has a volleyball tournament, or whatever, whatever we have to do that weekend, which is not too far of a stretch. We all have kids that have activities and stuff, but yeah, we're a little picky when it comes to that. There are definitely venues, especially in our home state, that we're like, anytime they reach out, we are going to try and make that work. Like we love
Cool.
playing those places. The people that are there are awesome. Specific bands as well. Like we've got quite a few bands where if they hit us up and we've got other plans, we try to adjust our plans and make that kind of stuff work for sure. Um, but yeah, it's definitely a mix of, we know the venue, we know the promoter, the bands that we're playing with. I mean, the show that we're doing with Ghoti Hook in a couple, well, I guess when this airs, I guess that'll be a week. In a week,
Yeah.
the show we're playing in a week from now.
That's
It's actually
wild.
like the second time we've done like this exact show at this exact venue, like almost, I don't even know if it might have even been the same month, like a
Wow.
year ago. Like it was a year ago, I think. It was either March or April, when we did this exact thing with them at that venue. So there's a lot of repeat stuff like that where we'll put 6 months, 12 months between the shows and do it again, kind of thing.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it's kind of nice to have that option to just be like, nah, we're not doing that, or oh yeah, absolutely, we'll rearrange some things for this. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Definitely, makes it a lot less stressful if you're not in it for the, hey, this is my career. I've got to make sure, we're making money in order to keep going with it. You've got your full-time career.
Yep.
And, we've been seeing that a lot, with bands we've talked to, or like down at Furnace Fest, where it's guys who, yeah, we'll do a reunion show. Yeah, that was fun. Let's play a couple more shows and just kind of, I really liked this, like, why
Right.
don't we just keep doing this, if it makes sense, or, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, do it
uh,
while you can, man.
yeah, I forget who we were talking with, but the nice thing is now, so a lot of the fans that were fans back, in the teens and early 20s, now that we're older, if that's what the situation is, like this show coming up, we're all going to travel down to the show because, we can do that. We couldn't
Right.
Yeah.
necessarily do that, high school, early college, when you're just saving every penny you've got. Now it's like, yeah, I can spring a couple bucks to, go down to go to the show and make a weekend of it and have fun. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It was a couple summers ago now. We played Audio Feed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or
Yeah.
not. It's
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, out in Illinois. Um and it was fun because there was the people there that we have known for a long time. Back, we probably met them when we played at Cornerstone years and years ago. And so we weren't 100% sure what to expect audience wise. This was sort of uh, I don't want to say it was a replacement for Cornerstone, but it's sort of kind of in the same general
Hmm.
area and has a
Fills the
similar
gap that
vibe. And
Cornerstone left. Yeah.
yeah, to
Yeah.
some extent. And so we weren't 100% sure, but it was awesome because we so many people there from 20 plus years ago. So they're all grown adults now, but they
Right.
brought their kids with them. So it was like this cool combination of people that were our age, and then these 6 7 year olds, or maybe a 10 year old, and that was the audience. And it was the people we grew up with when we were young and doing our thing. Now they have families and they're bringing their families, and that was it. And it was awesome. It was one of the most fun shows we had that summer, just because of looking out and seeing that split kind of crowd. And it super super cool vibe and everything. Like, so to your point, we don't get a lot of like 20-year-olds coming to our shows like we did back when we were doing this, like, for real. That was kind of the audience. It was the just getting teenagers, and maybe just getting out of teenagers. Most 40 plus year olds at that point weren't really
Right.
into the kind of music that we're doing. But now that all of those people are the 40-year-olds,
Right.
that's who comes to our shows, and they bring their kids with them. So it's that kind of diverse age group there that kind of keeps everything going.
Well, the great part is you keep going. You're going to have some 20-year-olds at some point that'll be
Yeah,
that'll be coming to your
yeah,
shows.
that's right.
Yeah, like that'll come back again.
Yeah, just keep cycling around. Yeah,
That's right. And then they're going to take their kids, and then
there you go.
Perfect. It's cool for me to watch, right? Because Kevin, his kids will come to a couple shows that I've been to. We live close enough by where we go to
yeah,
shows together here and there, and it's cool to watch that. The bands that we were into. I don't have any kids. I have nephews and nieces, but the bands that we were into as kids, and then you bring your kids to. It's cool to see them vibe to it too. So
Yeah,
to your point, it's cool to see that next generation come up through and maybe kind of come on to the bands that we're into, maybe forge their own way, but you get a whole new audience that way too.
yeah, absolutely. Yep, it's been good.
I was thinking about what you were saying, Kevin, about having some extra pennies to spend. And
Mm.
High School Rock is on Discogs right now in cassette format, used for $49.99.
Mm.
Very good plus condition, but that's a spendy tape. I would love one, but I'm not sure. I already bought the ticket to the show, so I don't know if I can afford.
So what you're asking is that going to be at the merch table? No,
Well, yes, absolutely. Is the original 1998 pressing of the cassette going to be at the merch table? Yeah, that's really the biggest question I
You
have.
have to tour the facility to get that.
That's
I
it.
think
Yeah.
I think I have two copies of that. So technically it could be, But
That's
Oh!
your retirement, man. You got to hang on to those
Yeah,
until they're super
Right.
valuable.
Oh, look at
It's
you.
at least $49.99.
He'll cut you a deal, $45.99.
that's right. Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
$49.98.
All right,
inside track.
$59.99 with a signature.
Plus
Sure.
shipping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only one of the crew that kept the jackets that we had made for that record too.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
those Letterman
Yep.
Huntingtons
Yeah.
jackets.
Yeah.
Everybody else at one point or another, for I don't know, how or why they got rid of them. Maybe they moved and left it behind and didn't realize it. But of that crew, I still have mine hanging in the closet, but everybody else's is gone. So
I'm
yeah.
glad you do. I was in a band years ago, and we all had bowling shirts that I think the bassist mom had custom made. And I think the band was over, and I was like, I'm just not going to wear this anymore. And I really wish I had kept it. So you
Yeah,
did the right thing. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We were talking earlier, and we were like, it would be fun to ask guests on our show would be, are there any stories that never get asked when you come on, do an interview or on a podcast? Could be about the band, could be about anything else that's, on your mind of, hey, I've got this crazy story, here's what it is.
Not that I've never told before.
Okay.
There's definitely one that's pretty rare, and I don't even know how anyone would know to ask about it, honestly. It probably is just something that comes up in natural conversation when we're talking. The first time we did two European tours.
Oh, wow.
The first one was in 2000. I want to say it was like August, September of 2000. We got contacted by a band from Belgium who was going to do like a 3.5 week run, and they were going to have Marky Ramone play drums for them for that run.
Oh, wow.
And so it was basically a chance to tour around Europe with Marky Ramone. So
Yeah,
it was
right.
like, yeah, I think we're in.
Sounds cool.
Let's do it. And so we've told a lot of stories about that adventure, and there are a lot of stories about that adventure. That was a very interesting 3.5 weeks. But kind of one of the ones that doesn't get talked about so much is while we were there, especially in France, there was this huge like gas shortage, to where we would be traveling and we would have to wait in line to get gas sometimes for 2 or 3 hours, to cycle through, gas stations over on the countryside to get gas. And because they'd run out and they'd have to wait for a truck to bring more. And it was just like insanity.
Right.
So we had a driver that, there was two vehicles on that tour, and both of them had a driver that spoke multiple languages and can kind of get us around and everything. But the driver thought, I think it was in France, thought that it would be a good idea if they don't have gas cans, or maybe they probably do have gas cans. That's not a proper way of of setting this up.
Sure.
But we didn't have gas cans, but he had these really thick plastic bags, and you know where this is going. I think
I love this already.
Oh.
he decided he was going to fill up these thick plastic bags and put them in the back of the van and just carry fuel around with us and like fill up as we were driving, so we didn't have to spend so much time
Like an airplane in flight.
yeah, just like a refueler right there, ready to roll. And I mean, I get it to some extent because it was making us late for shows sometimes and blah, blah. But I
Sure.
wasn't super keen on the idea of essentially heavy duty shopping bags of gasoline, like rolling around in the back of the van. And for like 2 or 3 days straight, until we got out of that area and we got into like a space that didn't quite have that level of problems with the fuel. We drove around in a van with all kinds of stuff bouncing around and equipment and everything, with probably half a dozen bags of gasoline in the back of the van just rolling around. And I mean, it was one of the scariest things I think I've ever been involved in. Just not knowing if we were just going to blow up as we're driving down the road in France. But we managed to get through. So somewhere there was a good idea, I guess, there, but we were not very excited about it. And it was one of the weirdest experiences of a tour we've ever had.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
crazy.
Especially knowing your now, I mean, your role, your job, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's like you're thinking to yourself, okay, we're gonna have these bags of gas. This isn't like milk in a bag in Canada. This is gasoline.
yeah.
You got it. I was going to mention Canadian milk, but yeah,
Right,
this is
right.
like French gasoline.
French
Exactly.
gasoline. That's right. It comes in
Yeah.
bags.
How do you fill it? How do you fill a tank from a bag? I'm trying to imagine, like, how do you pour it
A
in
funnel,
the
right?
gas
It'd be a
tank?
funnel,
Is he
right?
carrying a funnel? Is that what's happening? Okay,
He was, yeah, yeah.
gotcha. He
And
was
we ended
ready.
up using all, and I know somewhere there are photos of this. Like,
Oh, amazing.
we obviously back in 2000, we didn't have these awesome phones where we could just snap pictures and
Sure.
put them out to the
Right.
world. So, we had normal cameras that we had to go develop film and all that crap with. So, somewhere there are photos of us kind of laughing and pointing like, ha, look, we got gas in the van, like, stupid stuff like that. But it was just like, oh my gosh, how stupid was that? But yeah, that's the one thing that comes to mind that we don't talk about very much in interviews is riding around France with bags of gas.
Oh, that's a
So
great
yeah,
story. Just the mental picture alone of that is great.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was a crazy tour. That was a pretty wild experience for sure. It took close to a week for Mark to say anything to us. He was very standoffish. But then midway through the tour, we would switch on and off, and he would ride with us sometimes, and we would ride with him. And we had put that cover record out, the File Under Ramones album,
Mhm.
which is probably one of the five that came out in that one year. And he was curious. He was like, I want to hear it. And so we, it was really weird, but we listened to that entire thing on a trip with him one day, and he sat in the passenger seat and he drummed along to every single song. And
Oh,
so he was air drumming. He would, hit the crash cymbals, and he would move over and act like he's playing the toms. And it almost seemed like he was trying to make sure we did it right, like in get the seal of approval.
that's
And
amazing.
his wife was on the tour with us, and she was riding. It was me and my wife, and I want to say Josh was with us that during that time, and she's like, I don't understand, like why he was in the band for 20 years. Why do we have to ride around and listen to the Ramones? And his wife didn't know that it was us doing the Ramones cover. She thought it was the band. So that was kind of fun. That was kind of cool that we tricked we
That's a
tricked Marky
compliment.
Ramone's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's huge.
Nice.
She's like, I listen to this all the time. Why?
Yeah, I don't understand. Why do we have to do this? I'm like,
So-
oh,
So do you think he hadn't listened? Because I would have assumed his knowledge of that would have led to inviting you on the tour. Do you think he hadn't listened, or was he like, I'm gonna listen with these guys and we're gonna do this in front of
no,
them?
no, we were brand new to him. Like he didn't know
Wow, okay.
anything about us. The band that he was playing with, they knew us, and
Oh,
so they reached out
Gotcha.
and were like, "Hey, we'd love to bring you guys over. And if it sweetens the deal at all, we've hired Mark to play drums for us for the tour." And we're like, "Oh wow, that's awesome! Yeah,
right.
count us
Very
in, kind of
cool.
thing." But no, he didn't know who we were before we went over
Oh, that's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel then? Like, I mean, you take the time to make a cover album, and then the guy who played
Yeah,
it is
it was pretty
playing
amazing. And
along with you, playing along with him. Like, that's
yeah,
awesome.
and
That had to feel
so
hot, like awesome.
it did, and it was a super great icebreaker because, like I said, he wasn't super into hanging out with us for the first little bit, and then after that we started sound checking with him, and so we would do Ramones covers with him, and then eventually started playing some songs with him and stuff. So it really blossomed quickly into, okay, you guys are all right. Well, I'll hang out with you now, and he was fun. He was a fun character. And he had a road manager with him on that tour. His name's Warren. First time, obviously, we met him too, and we're still super tight with Warren to this day. Still talk to him all. Actually, bring him out when we do weekend runs out to the Midwest. A lot of times he'll come with us. So we remained friends. Just one of those, again, examples of just things I wouldn't change, right? Because we
Yeah.
we did a lot of weird things, and we didn't always have like the most amount of success, but we met cool people, and we're still friends with them today. So it was a
Yeah.
awesome time.
They say never meet your heroes, and so is that? It sounds like be careful, but this one went okay.
Yeah, this one went okay. And honestly, I don't know how familiar with everything you guys are, but we did two shows with Joey Ramone as well.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and the whole "Don't meet your heroes" thing definitely didn't apply to him. That dude was just
Mm,
insanely cool.
mm.
It's
The
good.
most
Yeah.
humble, down to earth guy. I mean, just absolutely incredible dude. And yeah, you don't want to give the wrong impression. We weren't best friends with him. We
Sure, sure,
didn't,
Right.
you
sure,
know,
sure.
we didn't
Yeah.
hang out at Christmas with each other or anything. But the limited time we had and the shows we did with him was just incredible experiences. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did not take the length of time to warm up to us that Mark did. He was right out of the gate, just the nicest guy. Just
Yeah.
amazing person.
That sounds
I
phenomenal.
think Bono from U2 called him a miracle. How do you feel about that song?
Yeah, that would work. Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
yeah, he was quite something.
Yeah. Had you seen Ramones growing up at like shows?
I'd only ever been to one Ramon show,
Okay.
um, and it was with the whole band, me, Cliff, and Mike, the original three guys.
Mm,
Saw them in Baltimore. I want to say it was '95,
Hmm.
probably. Old heavy metal club called Hammerjacks downtown Baltimore.
mm.
Um, yeah, that was a life-changing night too.
Yeah.
Just
What did you feel? What was it like? What was the experience?
so that was towards the tail end of the career. CJ was playing bass for them, and he obviously brought that youthful energy, and
Right.
just you know it. I think at that point we had heard obviously the It's Alive record and Local Live. I probably was familiar enough with Local Live at that point, but seeing that in action in person, just almost 40 songs in what, an hour and 6 minutes or something. Just
Very efficient.
Right.
Yeah.
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 unreal, just unreal. And so that kind of put us on that path, hey, we're going to do that too, and
Hmm.
we're going to try and get really good at playing as many songs as we can in the little 30-minute set that we're being offered at this
Mhm.
festival or at this show or whatever.
Yeah.
And to this day, that's kind of where we're at. I think we're still riding around 20. We played just about 20 songs in 40 to 45 minutes. So still kind of pushing that whole Ramones kind of vibe as far as the live show goes.
I'm going to
Minimal.
count at the show. I'm going to count and
Yeah,
see how
I think
how high can we get?
I want to
Look for the
say,
guy with the counter.
Thermometer, you know. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yep,
Bring my
yeah.
clicker.
Yeah.
What about
Yeah.
other shows growing up? Like, I've not, it doesn't have to be your first show, but what are some shows you went to as a younger person that made an impression on you? Maybe like informed what you did. Obviously, the one you mentioned. Are there other shows that kind of made you who you are now?
Yeah, probably not so much to do with like Huntingtons or maybe even punk rock, but
Sure.
um, I saw The Cure on their Wish
Oh,
tour
Really?
in
Mm.
'92, and a band called The Cranes opened for them. And I'm not sure if you're familiar, the probably isn't there. They're probably just called Cranes.
mm.
Okay.
Um,
Not familiar
but
though.
oh my gosh, that that was amazing. That was an eye-opening experience too. That band, the first two records from Cranes, the second one's called Loved, and the first one, oh
Write that down, Pete.
goodness,
I'm writing it
Mm,
down right now. I
Okay.
love
All right.
hearing new bands. Yeah.
yeah,
Or old new
they
bands.
blew me out of the water. Like I'm, a 10th grader, I think, at that point. And I was already super excited to see The Cure. At the time, I was like, I didn't care at all who the opening band was,
Right.
but they came out and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is absolutely incredible. So that band to this day, I don't think they're around anymore. I don't think they put a record out in probably
I'm
10,
bringing
12
this
years.
I'm bringing this up
But
right now.
yeah, the first Cranes record has like a bluish cover with an angel on it. I cannot remember. It's probably 91, 92. And
Sure.
then I want to say the second one's more of a goldish color and it was called Loved. I want to say it was called Loved.
Let's see.
Um,
There's Fuse. There's self non-self, Wings of Joy, and
Wings of
Forever.
Joy.
There we
Yes,
Is that
go.
it? Yeah.
Wings of
Okay.
Joy is the one with the angel on it. That was the one that they were
Mhm.
playing. And it is noisy, gothy kind of music, right? It made
Yes.
sense to be opening for The Cure.
Oh man.
So it's not at all pop punk or
Yeah.
Ramones or anything like that. It's a totally different vibe, but that band just blew me away and kind of set the stage for most of my 90s. I'm not a pop punk guy
Sure.
really. Like I listened to some of it, and obviously, Ramones and a bunch of Lookout Records stuff from the 90s really really hits home with me. But that's not my genre really at all. The other, I guess, probably concert from that time period would have been the first time I saw Dinosaur Jr.
Oh
Nice.
man.
Saw
Yes.
him, and it was the same venue I saw the Ramones in. So it would have
Sure.
Nice.
been probably a year before I saw the Ramones show.
Okay.
And I've seen them a bunch of times since. But I mean, yeah, that was huge, a huge impact on me.
Do
Um,
you take sides on Dinosaur Jr.?
do I take sides?
Do you take sides on the Barlow side or the J Mascis side?
Oh, you mean just like for the songs that they split on the records, or
Or
just
they get like they fought, right? Like they weren't friends
well, yeah,
after a while or something. Yeah.
so Barlow was out of the band for like 3 records,
Yeah.
maybe slightly longer than that. But I mean, no, I don't know any of that drama. I'm not familiar with any of
I
like
don't
the
It's
either.
not why
what
you're
they
there,
did.
right?
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, he's been back now for feels like ever.
Yeah.
So the three of those guys, the J. Lou Murph lineup is fantastic. Um, but yeah, I've seen them a bunch of times since then. But yeah, that first show at Hammerjacks was incredible. I only got to see Sonic Youth one time, but that
Oh
show
man.
was awesome as well. And I did see Nirvana on the In Utero tour
Come
at
on.
a college in DC. It was only about ten
Oh
thousand
wow.
person arena,
Well, true, because
and
Grohl's from that area too. So yeah,
yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah. I can't remember the name. Live not use. What I cannot remember the name of the college that it was, but yeah, it was the In Utero tour. So they had Pat with them on guitar, and
Yeah.
it was great. It was fantastic. Loved every minute of that too.
So would you say you're more like that John? I mean, I'm eclectic personally, so any of those, any style, I'll listen to. But would you say you veer more that side, like the Cure, Nirvana, that's Sonic Youth, that kind of stuff, or
I mean, that's the music of my teenage youth kind
sure,
of
same.
era.
Yep.
That's what I loved back then. I mean,
Yeah.
these days I still love that stuff. I mean, all that stuff is still very much in my top tier.
Yeah.
But I'm all over the map these days. Like,
Same.
uh, I really dig Steven Wilson Jr. I love that dude a lot. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if you guys know him at all. I think he's
He's
the
breaking
husband.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the Sixpence Singer's husband or something.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
weird connection there, but he's got like that country folk, but he almost has like a little bit of a punk rock attitude to him.
Sure.
Mhm.
Just in the way his songwriting is. Love that a lot. Love that dude a lot. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of all over the map with that stuff. I don't really stick to one style.
And that's how we fly here too. So it's like we come from a certain genre background, and but we're all over the map and very eclectic in that style. So hearing you talk about Sonic Youth and Nirvana and Stephen Wilson Jr. That's where we fly.
Yeah, yeah, right on. Yep.
And then we come back to our '90s roots, and we
Yeah.
Ghoti Hook and the Huntingtons.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
and that's why we're coming down to Pennsylvania for that show. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool.
yeah, right on. Very cool.
So kind of how did that show, how did you kind of hook up with Ghoti Hook? And, we've had Adam on the pod as well. So we're stoked to have both of you guys here. You said you did that, what, a year ago, and
Yeah,
now you're kind
yeah,
of doing it again.
yeah.
How did that kind of come about?
I mean, we grew up playing with those guys
Sure.
back in like 94, 95 time frame. I mean, goodness, most of our shows were with those guys. It was either them
Yeah,
or 121.
sure.
Um, some of the Philadelphia bands. I mean, we even jumped on bills with some of the hardcore bands back then too. But yeah, so we grew up playing with those guys. And then when they reached out for the show a year ago. I think it was they were kind of geared. When did they play Furnace Fest? Was it
It was not this past
23.
year, but
Yeah,
the year before.
23,
okay?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
they had done that, and then I think they had been like, okay, that was kind of fun. Let's maybe do one or two more kind of things. And so I think they did a show maybe in Virginia or DC at some point.
Sure.
And then they got this one together, and we had never played the venue before. They're like, yeah, you guys want to do a show together? Like, yeah, just like old times, let's do it.
That's sick.
That went really well. And then I want to say, geez, maybe back beginning of the year. This show's been on the books for a while. I don't know when it got
Yeah.
announced, but we've had it on the books for a bit. And like, let's redo that again. And like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Anytime, man. If you guys want to do a little run. And as soon as the first show happened, people reached out and were like, can you guys bring this to Chicago? Can you bring this, bring this package out to the Midwest? And I'm like, I don't know if those guys are interested in doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The one-offs, the 3 shows a year kind of thing. Yeah, they're on with they're cool with that. But I'm not sure if we could convince them to spend 4 days traveling, out to the Midwest and hit a bunch of shows. I'm sure they'd be fun. I'm sure people would be into it. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's a bit of a stretch. So, but yeah,
it sounded like Central Pennsylvania is a good spot for it. That you could probably get a lot of folks from various areas that would kind of it'd be a central location for me, for Kevin, for Pete.
Yeah. I mean,
right in
you
the
guys
middle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
right in the middle, right in the middle, especially for you, Brock.
Yeah, Oregon's just a hop
Yeah.
skip from there.
It's a whole different country. We're fine, but
Yeah, I think there's an Oregon Dairy somewhere in Pennsylvania.
we'll find it for you. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll search it out.
But that's cool for the DC crew, and then for the Northerners, it's all. I mean, we're only 6.5 hours away, so that's a
Right.
completely doable show, and we're super stoked for it.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm curious. Since you're playing with Ghoti Hook, do you have any favorite Ghoti Hook tracks?
You know what?
Adam's not listening. Don't worry.
He's not. He doesn't listen to this podcast.
No, he does.
He does.
Yeah.
Adam, don't listen to this part.
No. Hi, Adam. Okay.
I want to say, I'm trying to think because I had a demo before they got signed to Tooth and Nail. They had demo. No, maybe they weren't demos. I feel bad for calling it a demo. Maybe it was like an
It
album.
was
but I think
independent release, at least.
I think it was a demo. The cassettes that they used to have at their shows, like
Yeah.
everybody did before before we got signed or whatever. And I remember that being something that I was into more than when they put that first Tooth and Nail record out. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know
Was
what?
it-
Some of the songs were appeared on both, right? They had
Yep.
written the songs and demoed them, and then they did the record, and a handful of the tracks made it to the record. But I remember like, man, and I don't want to say like, I hope they don't keep doing this. I want my old Ghoti Hook. I want like the ones that we were playing VFW halls with and that sort of thing. So I remember being a little bit more into the demo than the record. Wasn't like a huge fan of that first record.
I'm trying to think. Was the demo? Was it the one with the Christian's head on it, or was it the little cartoon guy?
Because those are a year apart. You got No Date and Boca Grande.
No Date and Boca Grande. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, now that you're mentioning the names, it was probably the No Date demo.
Okay.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah,
the
that
other
one had a
doesn't
couple
even
of
ring a bell.
the
Yeah.
tracks.
We got
they-
kicks
Yeah.
off with
Yeah,
Ookla the
yeah.
Punk. Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
It's got the
Yep.
early version of Spice Drops.
Yep, that was definitely it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved playing with those guys back in the day. The shows that they put on were just energetic and fun the whole time. Just
Oh yeah.
yeah, just incredible.
Well, and 3 of the
Incredible
4
show.
of us were at the at the Furnace Fest, run.
Oh,
Mhm.
excellent.
So it was
Mhm.
So Brock didn't make it that year, but he made it the next year. And
That's the reason I'm coming to Pennsylvania on it. The primary reason is that I did not see them at Furnace Fest, so I have to see them before they stop playing. If they stop
Right.
Oh,
playing, I don't know
okay.
if they'll stop playing or not. Who knows? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
This is all speculative.
And the fact that
Yeah.
you guys are
Can you edit that, Kevin?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that or not.
But the fact that it's this double bill is cool because I didn't get to see you guys on your original run or quote unquote original run, and it's this is very cool to bring back. We talk about it on the pod where we're like, you were at that time of our lives way back, and now in our 40s, like you said earlier, with with some of us with kids, and we're kind of reliving some of that time, and bringing our kids to the shows. For me, it's like just reliving that time, the bands I didn't get to see when I was in my teens. So
Yeah,
this is one of those double bills that's super super exciting for me to kind of get to see a band I didn't get to see back then.
awesome, very cool. That's cool
Yeah.
to hear.
Pete, I apologize for not knowing you back then because I
I
would have
know.
dragged you along to all
Right.
the shows.
How dare you? How dare you, Kevin?
I lived in New York back then, so you couldn't have dragged me back. We didn't live as close as we do now.
Well, this is where we have to ask Kevin. Kevin, do you have a favorite Huntington's memory from back in the day?
Yeah, probably. There was a show up in New Hampshire at some. I think it was either a coffee house or like a small like Christian club. And I remember getting up on stage and basically like singing like the backup vocals for a good chunk of the songs. Yeah, that was awesome. So much fun.
Very nice.
Yeah.
See, you didn't come up to the Adirondacks in New York, so I didn't get to see you. But but now that I live in Rhode Island, I mean, if I lived there back then, sure. But
Yeah.
Although Rhode Island does not have the green sign Walmart.
You're right. So sorry.
Yeah.
Context is
That's
we're the only
unique
Walmart,
to Adirondack. Yeah.
the only Walmart in the nation that had a green sign because of the Adirondack Park Agency. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's not the traditional
Interesting.
blue.
Yeah.
I'm stoked to check out this band, the Cranes.
Yeah, I was looking at they're from the UK,
Yeah.
and it looks like there was a copy. Yeah, Crane's Wings of Joy. There's
Yep.
a vinyl copy from the UK for what, $23.91 US.
Wow.
But then
Did
you
you
got to
already
ask
purchase it, Brock?
yourself, is it gonna? What was that? Not
Did
yet.
you already
no.
purchase it? Okay.
Oh, this one ships from Italy. It doesn't say. It looks like it'd be 53.23 to me to get it from UK. So
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Well, that's
gotta look for alternate versions maybe.
right. Mike, we like to check out the bands that our guests talk about. So
Yeah.
I'm already on this Wikipedia page, and I've written it down so that I can check them out later. But the Cranes sound awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Those first two records are just awesome. Just incredibly good stuff.
From what I
That's
can
cool.
tell, Wings of Joy isn't even, there was no US pressing at all. And so there's a European version here. I'm going to see how much that would cost. $27.12. The shipping's always what kills you.
Brock is our resident Discogs junkie, and
Honestly, it's not bad, man. The $24.95, sorry, $24.95 in pounds. No, euros. How's the
hey
euro
Google,
doing right
what's
now?
the conversion?
Yeah.
But it's only €9.50, which is like what? It's only like $25 US or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
don't-
So, anyways,
The two US dollar ones are over 100 each. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm looking too.
I say always browse on the web. Don't use the app because the web gives you, it's easier to sort by actual total cost.
Well, the more you know.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yep. Take it from me. I've spent too much already.
Take it from me. I'm Brock to this.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, that's great. I mean, Mike, I'm not sure your timetable either. I want to make sure that we
Yeah.
respect your time too.
No,
For sure.
yeah, I'm good. I got time, so whatever you guys want to do is good with me.
All right, cool. I realized we didn't ask that at the very beginning. So
Should we ask him our usual questions about whether he had a crush on anybody from Point of Grace?
Yes, you already did.
you don't have to answer it, but that's fine.
You included the question in your question.
I don't think I could pick anyone from Point of Grace. If you showed me a picture of 10
Yeah.
people
Yep.
and
Yep.
half of them were Point of Grace, I couldn't pick them out.
And the other
Neither
half were
could
the
I.
Spice Girls. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm the same way. We asked that question on a whim, and it took off. So,
Okay,
so we have to ask it.
Yeah. What about,
Right.
I was going to say, least favorite Carmen song?
Oh, I
Right
want to.
response.
Man, you know what? I think I saw him live back in the day once or twice too.
Ooh, yeah.
That's on my bucket list.
Um,
Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But
Wait, what?
You might not want to see him anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't remember any of that guy's songs. Oh,
That's okay.
It was, yeah, good Lord.
I'll just make the answer easy. It's all of them.
Yeah.
Brock will now list off his discography.
Yes.
We have the Soap Song. We have the Champion.
Oh, goodness.
Right.
Guys, I'm going to make a bracket. I'm just going to put a bracket together, and instead of your favorite, it's going to be like, which one do I like less?
Welcome to March Madness. Yeah.
I'll seed it based on the most plays on Spotify. We'll just figure out, it'd be like the anti-Carmen bracket. We'll just figure out what's the worst Carmen song.
You're onto something.
I was going to say, get that CCM Twitter guy involved, and
Oh yeah, maybe he'll host it for me.
he's good at brackets.
Right. He's great.
I feel like it might be more negative than he wants to skew. We'll see. Maybe this will be a private thing just for us,
Happy
just for our
March Madness,
listeners.
Yeah.
And Mike, you can be a part of it too if you want.
Excellent. Yes, I will.
Sweet.
I will.
Very good, very good.
So you said you saw him back. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Brock.
No. Yes, you saw him. That's my question
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
What do you remember? How much chest hair?
I don't really remember any chest hair.
Was he a rapper at the point? Like, was it all
No.
tracksuit or no?
It's got to be
No.
true. Yeah.
No.
Because I think it was suit and tie first. That came after the chest hair, and then tracksuit, and then I forget what happened after that. But he was like, he had costumes.
Yeah, this would have probably been suit and tie era.
Okay, yeah.
Before I branched out and actually started going to shows on my own, my parents took me to a bunch of that kind of stuff.
Right, you got to go to the ones they
So,
take you to.
Yeah, 100%. So
Yep.
that was kind of my pre-real music experience, was going to see, that
Yep.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember a single thing about it though. Which is
That's
probably
fine.
good. It's probably
That's
a good
fine.
thing. Yeah, it really left an impression.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, when I went to see, when I was 9, 8, maybe, I went to see Stephen Curtis Chapman
Mhm.
in a little bandbox gym in Brattleboro, I think, or in one of the cities in Vermont. And I was up on my chair because it was in a little bandbox gym, and I was so excited, to see him. This was the music of my parents. Let's go. This is going to be great. But to me, I thought it was Stephen and Curtis Chapman. So when they announced him,
The famous duo.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Curtis Chapman, I apparently I don't remember this, but I sat down on my chair. I crossed my arms because it was only one guy. I'm like, where is Curtis? And
Where's the other one?
Was my mom was consoling me, and all the youth were laughing at me, and it was great. So talk about the music of our parents. That was my story.
Nice.
That's incredible.
And I apparently looked up at her and I went, "Mom, where is Curtis?" And there it is.
This Stevens guy's hair is too big.
Yeah. The mullet was just too much. Right?
Yeah.
That was the mullet days. So there you go. Which begs the question: do you have one of those? I mean, aside from Carmen, that you went with your folks that they kind of dragged you to from that era. Maybe you don't, but other than Carmen, the kind of like the bands that were big to them that you might have gone to.
There was a group called DeGarmo and Key.
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
speaking Jared's
Hey.
language.
Yeah.
It's Jared's favorite.
Yeah.
As a kid, that was it for me. Yeah.
I remember seeing them. I know. So there was a festival in Pennsylvania called Creation,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yep, been
I
there.
went to that twice with my dad, and I think the pastor of the church we were going to, he took like a couple other, younger kids. I guess I was probably around 10-ish, maybe probably around 10. Yeah. Went back to back years. So, man, who did I see at Creation? Nobody worth mentioning, that's for sure.
Everybody as well, right? Like you were there you saw all the big ones, I bet.
Yeah, they would have been
Yeah.
all the main ones there. I'm sure DC Talk probably was one of the
Sure.
ones that was there.
Sure.
I want to say, and I'm probably wrong about this. I'm probably mixing up with something else, but I want to say that at the second time we went to Creation, I want to say White Cross played,
Ooh.
and
Sounds right.
it would have been maybe like one of those like alternative, kind of side stage kind of deals
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would have
That's
had the rock bands or whatever. So I definitely saw White Cross. I just don't remember if it was at Creation or not. And that probably was like the highlight of that trip, was seeing
Oh,
that.
sure.
Was seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was to say
Right.
I saw the Newsboys at Creation, which means it could have been 95, 2005, 2015, or 2025.
2025, right?
Any of
Depends on which.
those could have been the Newsboys on the main stage. Yeah,
John James, Peter Fuller, Michael Tate, Adam Aggie.
all of it.
Right? Yeah, right.
Does that does that festival still exist?
I think it does not at this point.
Okay.
I mean, it
No.
recently
was
ended.
But
yeah,
up until now, yeah.
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
because there was a Creation West as well in my home state of
Mhm.
Washington State. It was just over the mountains from Seattle, and I never went. I should have, but I missed my chance to see all the greats as well. So it goes. But I think the Pennsylvania one lasted longer than the West Coast one. I think
Mhm.
that was
Well, that was the originator. So it like
yes,
and then-
that's where
and
it
then
started
the
and
West
it's where
Coast
it
came from
finished.
there.
Right.
Right.
2023 apparently.
Yeah, it just.
when
I
it
mean,
ended.
Oh
it,
wow.
it just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
That's
there was
impressive.
scandal involved.
There-
with
there
the
was a
guy
bit
who
of
ran
scandal
it.
Yes,
behind it,
yes,
and,
famously dethroned.
It's
Yeah.
not like Soulfest, which has just been taken over by Frank Tate from 5 Minute Walk.
Right.
They didn't really have anybody to take it over after that. I mean,
Okay.
not that Soulfest had scandal, but there was no like, we move on
No
from
continuity plan, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
If only there was still a Newsboys that could headline the next festival.
Well, there is. You're in luck.
Oh, wait. Right.
Stephen Curtis Chapman also available.
Stephen and Curtis, both of them.
Yeah, well, I don't. Whichever one is in the Grand Ole Opry, that's the one.
There we go. Yeah.
Opry
Mike,
members, Stephen
did you have to
Andrews.
make a jump from like what your parents would approve of to music they didn't? Was it like did you have
Mhm.
a musical rebellion phase?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember.
Was it hard to get out?
Not really.
Oh, good,
so
good.
so I was an only child,
Okay.
and
Hey,
um,
rock on. Me too.
yeah, nice. I didn't get into a lot of trouble, and so I think they did the whole pick and choose their battles kind of thing. And eventually, when I started playing music a little bit and expressing more of an interest in it, it never dragged me away from the things that they ultimately kind of wanted me to be a part of or anything. And I think it was one of those, all right, well, we'll just kind of, we'll let that go kind of thing. But I do remember making that transition. I would borrow cassettes from my friends, and there's two albums I remember doing this with. I did it with Appetite for Destruction,
Yes.
and I did it with Easy Does It, the Easy E solo record. Dad had a really old school tape deck that wasn't a digital button press. It was an actual physical, full on, the button stuck out from the tape deck and you pushed them down kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I listened to those in headphones enough to where I knew the songs from beginning to end and knew where all the objectionable language was. And I'd make copies of those tapes and hit the pause button at the point of and I'd self-censor the cassettes, because at the time, I know eventually they did have a censored version of Appetite,
a clean version, right?
Yeah, and they did that with the Easy E record eventually too. But my friends only had the real ones, right? The dirty ones, and I couldn't listen to that.
It's harder to pirate the clean version, yeah.
Yeah, so I went and made my own little self-censored tapes there in case I ever wanted to actually listen to them without headphones. So I got by a little bit with, I think, my parents thinking that those bands didn't have that kind of stuff in it. It was just,
amazing.
So it kind of fooled them for a little bit. But, eventually I started getting into more and more, stuff to where they kind of started to be accepting of the fact that I wasn't going to be turning back from from that path. And, but yeah, that transition was a lot of learning the songs and making my own cassettes of those bands.
Yeah. The clean green Walmart version that would be perfectly spotless.
I see what you did there. The green.
As clean as a U-Haul window, I'll tell you
that. So you had to like tape over the cassette. Were you using like Memorex, like blank tapes, or were you taping over like Amy Grant or something?
Oh yeah, I would
just sermon tapes.
No. Yeah, I had regular old blank tapes.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah.
The
Make
5-pack.
So you didn't even have to put the tape over them. You just like they came with little punchable tabs, and
That's
it was
right.
ready to go. And
That's
you
right.
just hover over the pause button you said on the recording
Yeah.
tape.
I
And
knew where it all was.
as soon as all the objectionable, any sort of like shit or fuck or whatever, like as soon as it shows up, you know it's there. You're
Yep.
hovering over the pause button. You hit the pause button. Kevin, do you need to hit the pause button when I said shit or fuck?
No.
That's what he does in
But-
editing. He pauses. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yes. But no, but you knew where
I
they
increased
were.
the
and you knew-
volume.
yeah.
Oh
Because I
man.
think I'm a few years younger. I remember I really wanted a clean version of "Hand in My Pocket" by Alanis Morissette, and I remember
Wow.
I was sitting with Audacity, just clipping instrumental pieces of the song to paste over "chicken shit." I think is the word I was trying to blank out, so I could
That was
play it in my
correct, yeah.
Christian dorm. Yeah, but yeah, it's what you do. You make your own. You
Yep.
clean it
Uh-huh.
up.
That's what I did.
I love
That's what I
that.
did.
Well done.
That's very funny that you bring that up, because that was how my dad was with us. Is that, we, the old song, roll out those crazy hazy daisy craze of summer, those days of pizza and pretzels and beer. Well, his edited version, he turned down the audio. It was roll out those hazy daisy craze of summer, those days of pizza and pretzels, and roll out the, he wouldn't put beer in there, and even we are the champions. So it's we are the, because he was like, no self-centeredness, and I'm like,
Oh, it was
what's
too.
wrong with the
Wow.
champions? Like,
Too
what's
impatient,
wrong with
man.
Queen? We are the champions. Yeah.
That's a tough one.
To his credit, he later changed and all that, but as a kid, that was the self-editing that brought up a core memory.
You're a champion.
Yeah,
Pete.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're a
thank you so
champion,
much.
buddy.
Yeah. Not so much Carmen the champion, but
No.
And my
Can't
wife
all
has a
defeat
story
Satan.
of Simon and Garfunkel. Was it Making Love with Cecilia? Her parents
Yeah.
would duck the volume for Making Love because that was a little bit too scandalous, but they
Oh,
really
yeah.
liked the song Cecilia. So,
Right.
you take what you can get.
Well, and I feel like at that time it was, you're driving down the highway, you're listening to the radio, and I was wondering why the hand was on the volume, and now I'm looking back on it. That's why you were self-editing for your kids,
That's right. Yeah.
or for yourself. I don't know. Yeah.
And it's come up full circle for me. I'm starting to think about like I got a bunch of albums that I like that someday my kids will learn those words, but I haven't decided when yet. So
Mhm.
I'm just selecting which records I play around them now. No eels for my two kids. So it
No,
goes.
no Alanis Morissette. Got it.
Yeah. Well, I have the edited version, so I'll play them the edit.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Play them the dot wave.
So do we want to play a game?
Well, we have a game.
Yes.
I'm in.
On this podcast, we love to play games with our guests.
Okay.
True. We call it Squid Games because that hasn't
That's
been used yet. No
not
one's
taken.
taken that.
Nope.
As far as we know.
TM.
So the idea behind the games is we like to present a scenario to our guests and kind of let them either choose something or rank something or some sort of bizarre scenario. And because you don't know us, and to make it a little bit easier for you, you're allowed to ask one question of each of us before
Okay.
you answer, if you choose.
Okay.
So I
If we
thought,
didn't say enough about Carmen, yeah,
right.
ask for more information.
Yes, that's the one question. Could you tell me more? And he drops off the call.
And that's it. That's how it ended.
Yep.
We've been meaning to talk to you about your obsession with Carmen, Brock, but that's all right. I didn't know it was going to be here and now. Yeah.
Got a riot on our hands. Yeah.
So I thought, because I know you're a wrestling fan, it might be fun if you assign each one of us a wrestling moniker.
Oh man, that is tough. Wow.
So-
Yeah.
So how long have you been a wrestling fan? Are you the old school WWF days all the way up?
No. I mean,
No.
when I was younger, I got into it a little bit, but
Okay.
not to any huge degree.
Sure.
And probably by the time I hit my teenage years, I was done. And I
Yeah.
didn't start getting back into it until my middle child was maybe around 8 probably around 8.
Okay.
Came across it on TV and we were hanging out one night. I'm like, oh, no way, wrestling, that's still a thing. And put it on, and he started thinking it was kind of fun, and ever since then that's what we've been in. That's a him and me thing. Like the rest of the family couldn't care less, but he and I have been probably reasonably keeping up with it fairly well for the last probably 10 years or so. He's 18 now, so
that's awesome.
So yeah, we've been keeping up with it for the recent decade.
So did you watch the like next gen and the reality side where they were trying to bring up new stars? And I'll tell you why I'm bringing this up is because I used to be a resident director in charge of a men's dorm years ago, and one of my students went on to be in the next gen. So Mata, I don't know if you know the wrestler Mata. He's no longer there. He's not part of it anymore. He's like on Next Level Chef now. It's weird.
Oh,
but
wow.
to wrestling fans, I bring up Mata. I mean, to the early, the like niche wrestling. I'm like Mata. He was big back then. He almost had a contract, and then he went on to do other things. But that's my one connection, my one degree of separation. So I have to bring it up if I know wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we don't. So we're kind of we stick to the main WWE roster stuff.
Sure.
Fully aware of all the extra stuff that they've got going on, but oh my God, it's hard enough to keep up with just that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You could dedicate way too much time to
Oh,
to that whole product if you really wanted to. So now,
goodness.
we don't. Yeah.
No judgment here. That just is I'm going to drop the name. Oh, no? Okay, that's fine. Move on. Because that's more than I know about wrestling. So,
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Last summer, he and I traveled out to Cleveland, and we went to one of the big pay-per-view events out there in Cleveland, the SummerSlam show.
Nice.
Wow.
So that was an adventure. That was fun. But yeah, no, we have a good time with it.
So what do you think about John Cena and The Rock pairing up?
So ever since that happened, where he did the whole turn and heel thing with The Rock there, that story has been horrible in my opinion. Like the Cena and Cody Rhodes build to their match at WrestleMania has been the most boring thing that company has done in a long time. Which is weird too, because they're both massive stars. They're hugely popular individually. Right. You put them together. Cena's doing this whiny character now. He's not even he's not even a bad guy. He's just sort of this whiner, and it's not interesting at all. The chemistry between those guys is not there. It's just not there.
For sure. I feel like Cena was finally hitting his stride, and then he did this character.
Awful. Yeah. I don't have high hopes for that match unless they recognize that the reaction they're getting is not what they expected. Sure. And they still have a few weeks to maybe kind of throw a curveball at us, but not interesting.
Right.
Not interesting.
All right, Squids, that has exhausted my knowledge of wrestling. Continue.
Mike Tyson was pretty good at wrestling, wasn't he?
He was. He was fantastic.
All right, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Oh, that's good. So back to the game. Or no, go ahead.
I have a quick timeout story.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. Time in.
Yeah.
Oh, uproarious laughter. I don't know what we talked about there. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So I took us off on that tangent. I apologize.
You're good.
So the Squid
No
game.
apology necessary.
I just wanted to apologize. I haven't apologized yet today. So
unless Mike wants an apology, at that point, Pete will apologize profusely.
All right, so I would like to apologize on behalf of myself. I would like to apologize for whatever I just talked about, and we're moving on. Thank you so much.
There we go. All right. Takes a big man. Better. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pete, that wasn't a great apology. Could you apologize for your apology?
Okay, so on behalf of myself and my other part of myself, I would like to apologize for the apology that I just gave. It was insincere, and I will do better the next time. In fact, if you would like me to come up on stage and apologize at the show, I will be happy to.
Can you put that into your notes app, please?
What did I
I'll
just
see
do?
a picture of it on your notes app. Yeah.
People at the show are going to be like, why is this guy up on stage apologizing?
Yeah. No,
I'm
they
not
get the whole
doing that.
story later.
Nope, not doing
The most
that.
important thing is that you do apologize.
I apologize for saying that I was going to be up on stage. All right, continue. I could go all night. Let somebody stop me, okay?
All right, should we make sure Mike has all the rules of this game?
Yeah.
This game called podcasting.
Yeah.
This game called life.
You get to make up whatever name you want for us, and
Okay,
you can
wrestling
ask a
name for
question
each of
if-
us. Every squid
Yes.
gets a wrestling name. All right.
One question to figure out what your name is going to be. Oh,
Plus
man.
everything you know about us so far.
Yeah, which is a
That
lot.
is-
I have a Wikipedia page that's vacant.
That'll be a good resource.
Pete, you were on the Five Iron Frenzy Wikipedia page briefly.
for 5 seconds.
Is that how long it was? Yeah. Pete was the lead singer of Five Iron Frenzy
For 5
on
seconds.
Wikipedia. Yeah.
Oh man, this is not an easy. This isn't an easy task.
Pete apologizes.
We chose you because we knew that you could. We knew you're
Oh.
one of the few that can.
The pressure is on. My God,
It really is. That's what we do here on a Pickle Home Companion. We turn up the pressure
Yeah,
until
yeah.
you can't take it anymore.
Yes.
That's it. Yep.
Brock.
Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many like straightaway easy things to do with that name. But to
Right.
be honest with you, man,
Obvious tie-ins.
The problem is how many of you guys actually are familiar with the current WWE program? Like, is it just Pete? Oh, Brett, Kevin, you're a little bit familiar with it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I
So-
know from what I've seen in Providence, Rhode Island, because they come to Monday Night Raw here.
Yeah,
a lot.
they're up there
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yep.
sure. So, but Brock doesn't know. Okay, because he
He
gives
doesn't
me
know hardcore bands either. You're fine.
I don't, but do I need to?
No.
no. I mean, he gives me Dominic Mysterio vibes for some reason, though.
Ooh,
Brock
okay.
does. So I gotta.
It's
put
the
him-
mustache.
It is. It's like the stash, and if he had a little bit of a mullet kicking in the back, I could see him being part of the Judgment Day. But what kind of a name would he
Yeah.
have?
Years ago I had a mullet.
Oh, we need pictures.
Yeah, we definitely need photos of that.
I'll
for
find them.
inspiration.
Find them. Hang on.
For inspiration.
I love how he just said, "Hang on," not like we'll get it to you next week.
Keep those in my pocket.
I'm right here at my terminal.
I have an elaborate collection of photos of myself.
I hate to say it, I don't know you guys enough to be throwing
Okay.
these around.
I mean, you can't offend us. That's the other piece. I think
No,
it's,
I'm,
it's
well, I'm not
important
looking
to
to.
know. Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, honestly, yeah. So I get,
Or go ahead and try.
We're open to it, though. We're open.
I
to it.
get the Mysterio vibes from Brock. I get the AJ style vibes from Jared. I get the
Ooh, yeah, I can see that.
I get the War Raiders vibes from Pete and Kevin. You kind of give me Wyatt Six vibes a little bit, like you could be part
Oh,
of the
okay.
Uncle Howdy crew. But
Yeah,
see,
I can
coming
see
up
that.
with, but then tying names to those is like, oh my gosh, I don't know
That's
that I can do that in the amount of time we have.
That's okay. Honestly, the fact that you threw those names out in your vibe that we give, that honestly
That
answers
works.
our question.
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, those are your factions: War Raiders, Judgment Day. Of course, AJ Styles doesn't really have a faction at the moment,
Right.
but you're phenomenal. You're the phenomenal one, and then Kevin, you're in the Wyatt Six, bud.
Sweet.
That's
I
where
dig
we're
that.
at.
You didn't know you answered the question, but there it is.
There
Come
it
on.
is.
Yeah.
Crushed it, yeah. Pete apologizes
amazing.
for how hard it was. Yeah.
He should.
On behalf of the Squids, I'd like to apologize for how hard that question was, but
You know,
you
I'm
nailed it.
I'm thinking I'm going to talk to the guys and we're gonna cut 12 songs out of the set and give Pete a chance to apologize on stage on the 11th. 12 songs should give you
Well,
about
guys,
3.5 minutes. That should be enough
oh,
time,
good.
right?
All right, I'll work on it. All right. So 3.5 minute apology. All right.
There you go.
Yeah, I love it. Good Lord.
All wrongs, past, current, and future. You have to apologize for.
I know you. This is your second time playing the same venue. If I apologize, they won't ask you back. So,
Yeah.
if you're looking to make it a third time, don't bring me on stage. Okay.
Mike, are you familiar with Portland wrestling? Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't. No.
It's okay. It's a Pacific Northwest thing, but it was a big institution in the Pacific Northwest that apparently started in 1925. And I used to drive past the place where it happened. It was kind of just a local, regional sort of thing. But I think it was 2007 when it finally shut down because the owner embezzled $10,000 from a local cab company.
Nice. Wow. That's a long run.
Yeah, I mean,
1925.
it looks like, well, I think that was the restart, actually. So how long were they down? I forget. From 92 to 2000, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was like a brief reboot. But then, is it turning the heel? Is that when you embezzle $10,000?
That would be a heel turn, yeah.
It seems like it. Yeah.
Hey Google, what's turning the heel? Okay. No, you nailed that game. That's what we were looking for, and that was pretty cool.
All those associations, honestly, yeah. I think from here we can take it. It's very simple from here. The hard work has been done.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool.
Now we'll all show up in like our different faction outfits to the show.
Oh, that would be
Yes.
amazing.
All right, Kevin, you're gonna have to help us with that. All right.
All right.
Find me a leotard.
Yeah. Oh man, nobody wants to see me in a leotard. I'm gonna come as a 40-year-old man.
But we promise you're gonna have to apologize again.
Oh, I will apologize, and actually, no, there's no apology there. I'm gonna say you're welcome.
There's no apology for that.
Was it? Were you guys? It was at 23 at Furnace Fest where those two guys showed up as Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, like the Macho Man, like full for the festival for a full day, and they had their friend with them, and she was in front as like their promoter, and they went everywhere doing their little bit for a full day as Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man and Randy Savage. It's pretty good. It's
Oh,
pretty
that's
little
awesome.
shtick
That's cool. It's incredible.
for a fest.
And
Yeah.
And tying it in, that was the year that Ghoti Hook played, so that's perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The commitment.
I'm
a lot
very
of
curious if a Banana Man is going to show up here. Talking about more monikers. There was in 2023 they did show up in a Banana Man outfit. Brock, are you bringing it to the?
Should I
Ghoti
bring
Hook
mine?
show? Yeah.
I think we need to just incessantly shout the box when they play until they play it.
That'd be fun.
I see your mullet in the chat there, Brock. Very good.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir. That's
Oh, you
that's
did share it.
20 years
Okay.
ago now. But that's what I looked
Bring it
like with a
back.
mullet back then. Yeah.
I don't know if you have access to the chat, Mike, but he did put
Yeah.
a photo of
Man, that doesn't look anything like you. That's crazy.
You sure?
I don't think so. I mean, that's
Okay.
pretty wild.
I see facial features, but you're right. I'm there
Yeah.
as well.
I had a bigger mustache back then. It was the trucker stash. I think I shaved the trucker stash to go along with the mullet, to go along with the torn A shirt. Yeah. It was a whole thing, a whole look. I remember going to work with it because, like, now kids have mullets, right? It's like just a thing that some kids do.
Everywhere.
I remember going to work with the mullet and just like being terrified that I'd be fired, or something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of going along those lines, like with the beard I've got going on, what we used to do is we would wait until Cinco de Mayo. So we basically would just, all of me and my college friends would just grow our beards out like all winter, wait until Cinco de Mayo, and then we would just shave it into like the ugliest mustache you could possibly come up with for Cinco de Mustache. But for some reason, I don't think that necessarily would fly at my my current job.
There's only one way to find out.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say you've got about 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and then just make it happen.
Do you guys have any plans for some new music down the road at some point? I know you guys just like remixed the most recent album.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while, but it's every time we start to head down that direction, we book shows, and it's like, wow,
Mhm.
we don't get together enough, and we're not busy enough to where we can do both. It's either
Right.
we prepare and we do shows, and that's kind of like what our focus is on, or we take a huge chunk of time off and we spend that time working on writing material. So right now the focus has just been on playing shows.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time. Let's carve out one weekend where we just kind of hammer out some new stuff. And we did do that once in the last probably 6 months and came up with one and a half songs. And then it was right back into prepping for shows again.
Yeah.
So the last two shows we did at the end of the year were both full Ramones sets. We've been participating in this thing every year in DC with a Misfits cover band where it's like a Halloween show, and we
Oh,
do
cool.
a full Ramones set. They do a full Misfits set, and it's a blast. People come, they dress up. It's the whole Halloween thing, and it's been great. And so we did two of those last year. It was the last time we played. So it takes us time to get that kind of thing together and rehearse for that, just to do two shows. And then, we've got some plans for doing some stuff over the summer, and then a couple of things pushing into the fall. It's like, oh man, I don't know. Well, maybe we'll get around to it. We want to. We want to try to put together at least one more record and get it out before we call it a day.
Yeah.
But with our schedules, it's quite the commitment.
Oh, for sure.
Thank you, Mike. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah,
Really appreciate it.
absolutely.
Looking forward to the show.
I
Really,
am as well.
really appreciate you doing what you do and continuing to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thanks.
And any last minute plug for the show coming up? I mean, it's
Yeah, what, April 11th, Phantom Power. I guess is it Millersville? I guess that's what the town's called.
Yep.
Just outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's an interesting town. It's kind of like a collegey town. Small town vibes and everything. But awesome venue, and
looks
looking
cool.
forward to it. Yeah, it's awesome. It's a fantastic spot. The size of it's great too. It's just kind of like the right vibe and everything for what this show is going to be. So I think you guys will have a good time. Looking forward to it.
So is it just you two guys on the bill? I mean, is
I
there any?
think so. Yeah. The last time we ran this show, there was one additional band on
Okay,
the bill, but I think this time around, Ghoti Hook's looking to have it be just the
even
two
better,
bands.
even better.
And yeah, like there's like our audiences are all our age. They
Yeah,
come, they hang out for a little bit, and they go home. They don't want to be there
love
all
it.
night. And I can definitely appreciate that. And the next show we're doing after this is in Baltimore with the Queers, and
Sweet.
it's a 5 band bill.
Oh
And
wow.
as much as we love playing with the Queers, and we'll pretty much always say yes when that show comes to town, it's like, oh, 5 bands.
It's
Jeez,
a big
that's
night.
such an
Big
investment
night.
of time.
Yeah.
So now it's just the two of us on the 11th, so it should be a good time.
Oh, so
Cool.
we're stoked for that. We're definitely going to put the link for the tickets in our show notes, and if I know our listeners, we have some local. We already know of a few that are going to come out that are coming out, and we're stoked. We're stoked to head down there. So
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Google, put in directions for Anna Kipps to Phantom Power.
But yeah, it'll be very cool. And so if anybody's listening, check out this show. It's gonna be great. We're all it's gonna be a great hang. So that'll be very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're also hanging out at Hershey beforehand. We're gonna go to the chocolate world. I mean,
That's true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
we're gonna ride the ride and get the free chocolate. Just
There you
a
go.
small hint. And then gonna have a great rock show.
Yeah.
It's a good plan. It's a good
You know
plan.
what I
like
mean?
it.
Nice.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
fellas,
much.
appreciate
Yeah.
you having me. Yeah, good time talking to you.
Brock, hit us with that sweet outro.
And that's the news from Lake Scabagon, where all the wrestlers are good looking all the tapes with the swears dubbed out of them are clean, and all of the apologies are above average.
Onward, pickle soldiers.
Another perfect podcast, guys.
Oh,
One more in the can.
Oh man.
Mike, we're stoked to meet you when we, in a few short weeks.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, fellas, enjoy the rest of your evening.
Cheers. Take care.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank
All right.
you, Mike.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye. That's so great. Oh my
That was fun,
God.
guys. Thanks.
That is.
It'll be good to see you guys, and hopefully it'll be a good show.
As they say metaphorically, break a leg.
Yeah, but just one, not both. That would be
That's
right.
it.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. They want to stand up.
That'd be fun to watch. I'll come up and apologize for the broken legs.
I feel